Alright, so a brand new Disney Plus original show released on Disney Plus. It's finally over. It's called X-Men 97. Here is my review. Alright, so X-Men 97 is a continuation of the show from the 90s, obviously. It is basically took place after in that last season of that show, where our main character, Charles Xavier, has apparently died and left the estate to the rest of the X-Men. And so I know there's a lot of people that love that original show. I saw one season and I thought it was pretty good. The first season I thought it was pretty good. I liked that it was 20-minute episodes. I could watch like 5 or 6 in a row, and then I could also just enjoy the stories and how it adapted the stories. I thought it was pretty interesting. Going into this show, though, I had no real big anticipation for it. I was planning on finishing the 90 show before I started watching this one, but then the buzz came out, and it was like, the show is great. And I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna check it out. And from the first 2 episodes, I was mesmerized in this universe. Before I get started with the full review, make sure to comment down below what is your opinions of this show. I want to know all that and more. Also, while you're down there, please subscribe to the like button and hit the bell so you never miss another video. I'm gonna have several more coming this next week. And with that said, let's get started with why X-Men 97 is the GOAT. And man, like I said, I just wasn't expecting too much from the show. Obviously, Disney Marvel hasn't been too strong lately. Going into the show, I didn't necessarily think it would have been bad. I just didn't necessarily think it would have been the greatest show, specifically because its last animated show, What If, I'm not the biggest fan of. I like a lot of the episodes. I think that it's a cool premise, but I just don't really like the execution. So going into the show, man, was I surprised when the show started off very strong, and then it never truly slowed all the way down to where I didn't like it. So I did have a couple issues here and there. We'll get to that. But overall, this show is fantastic. It's the best show of the decade so far out of the 20s. That I cannot wait for season 2. And I don't think that it's going to get dethroned as greatest show from this year because, woo, this show is fantastic. Kicking off with some positives, we got to talk about the animation. Now, the animation is something that I've seen people saying is hit or miss. A lot of people on the internet are saying, whoa, this animation looks absolutely phenomenal. And that's where I'm at. There's a lot of people that always say, oh, the animation, it's got flaws here and there. And I'm saying you're being too nitpicky. I think the animation looks great. The fight scenes take kind of like an anime-inspired influence, which I hate anime, but it feels more like a comic book than an anime. It looks great, and you can feel every punch and everything that happens because of how cool the animation and the fight sequences are. The characters in this show are really good. Like, they are hands down fantastic. I was surprised at some of the characters that we went through. The thing with the Fox X-Men movies is that there's characters like Cyclops or Rogue or all that, they never fully get fleshed out. They never fully get a character arc. And so with a 10-episode season, it's easy to give your characters a character arc instead of just trying to get the plot of the movie. Maybe give 1 or 2 characters a character arc along the way. And in this show, it can be so good. Cyclops was always cool in the original show, but he came off in that first season more was whiny and kind of like, I'm the leader, you listen to me, than like an actual leader. The moment this show pops off, he just turns into a complete badass. He is awesome from beginning to end of the show. That first episode, he does some things that gave me goosebumps. I was like, whoa, that is pretty awesome. Wow, I cannot believe it. Characters like Gambit or Rogue, man, there's emotional punches with them. Rogue gets a good character arc here as well. Magneto, I'm not a Magneto fan. And it's an unpopular opinion, I was never like the biggest fan of Magneto. I like what he does. I like the normal premise he gets, but it quite often gets overplayed. I think he's a good villain for like one X-Men movie, but the fact that he's the main villain of the X-Men universe, that he never fully changes, just feels overrated to me. And he's great in this show. From the very beginning, he has obviously the same stuff that he normally does. He's a mutant, he wants to eliminate humanity, but he's trying to change. And there's some interesting plot devices that they use to give him his character arc. Like, he changes, and then we see what happens, what humans can do and then he completely changes again. I wouldn't even go as far to call him a villain. He's just a compelling character in this show. Wolverine's sidelined. There's characters like Wolverine's good. He's just sidelined, which I think is kind of cool. As long like the Fox X-Men movies, we're always focusing on Wolverine. We're getting a movie that's going to focus on Wolverine later this year. And it's super cool that we get a show to where we don't have to totally focus on Wolverine. He's just like a character that randomly comes out and he's like, yeah, let's kill some people. Charles Xavier, he's alive in the show. Show's been out for a couple while, so I'm going to spoil it, but he's alive in the show, and he has a really great character arc, him with Magneto as well. Every character arc in this show is great, and it's emotional too. The show is not afraid to get dark and pack an emotional punch. I was genuinely surprised at the end of episode 5 how far it goes, because this show has balls. It does whatever this show wants, and it is crazy, and it is good. You never know who's going to survive or who's going to die. And even with characters like Cable, where it's easy to fix a death because Cable can time travel. So you can time travel and easily bring back the dead people that die. But with Cable, they find a way to make it not so easy to where, oh yeah, Gambit died? Okay, go back in time and we're cool. They make a way to fix that, and it is just fantastic. The writing, the animation, the action, the characters, it is all great in this show. I adored this show. From beginning to end, this feels like a true X-Men show. It feels like a comic book, a big comic run, where in every comic, you can't really just have full story because then people would turn away. You need to have the action sequences in every comic, and that's what it feels like. Every episode has its action sequences, and some people can feel like it feels a little bit rushed. I certainly did in the beginning, but it soon starts feeling more like a comic book when we get to the full story. It pulls in all the X-Men, their past, their history, their villains, and it combines it to an essentially perfect show. And I just cannot believe that Disney Marvel could do this, and they don't. Because my God, this show was fantastic. I am still in awe weeks later after the show debuted by how good it is. I mean, it ends on a 3-part finale, and it is great. I mean, there's so many cool character moments. The score is great. It gives you chills every time you watch it. I can't wait for season 2. There were like 1 or 2 issues here and there. The beginning of the show, I did kind of miss the 20-minute runtimes, to where this season has like 30-40 minute episode runtimes, and especially in the beginning of the season, I feel like, okay, this episode should be over, and I click to see how long it's got left, and it's got like 15-10 minutes left, to where it's trying to flesh out that runtime for quite a few episodes. I feel like the runtimes on some episodes could be shortened. Some of the character arcs, or not character arcs, but some of the season arcs feel like they're just a little bit out of place. Obviously, we need the Motendo character arc to kind of establish the romance between Jubilee and Roberto, but it feels like you could have done that a better way. It was kind of necessary. And like the life-death arc, I just did not like at all. With Storm, obviously it's important to have her there, but it's just like, oh, you're fighting another monster. You're fighting another big thing. Cool. It didn't feel fresh or anything that the show offered. And the way the show ended on the cliffhanger, I liked the cliffhanger. I did. I cannot wait to see how it plays out. But it's worth mentioning that it feels like something that several other shows have done. Because, like, I can name, like, 4 shows right now that have had the characters be lost in time and people have to go find it. It's unexpected, but when it happened, I felt like, oh, I've seen that before. But I really believe it'll play out perfectly. So, X-Men 97, it's hands down perfect. I highly recommend you go check it out. I still can't believe that Fox, or not Fox, but Disney, Marvel, actually grew a pair of balls and did this show. It's great. You all need to check it out if you for some reason haven't already. You don't even need to watch the original show. Like, it can get you a good starting point. Like, it was cool because they referenced a couple things back, but there's not like any plot contrivances that you need to know. So this show's perfect from beginning to end, besides like maybe 1 or 2 setbacks here and there for occasionally one episode. So X-Men 97, it's getting an A+, and it's getting the Zachary Movie Chat seal of approval must-watch show. I love this show. What is your opinions on X-Men 97? Let me know down below in the comment section below. Go ahead and subscribe, like button, hit the bell so you never miss another video. Videos coming later this week. Ranking of the more current Planet of the Apes movies. Furiosa review when I see that on Saturday. Mad Max ranking hopefully next week. I'm also going to upload a video on my second channel and attempt to do another video on my main channel. Whether what it is, You'll have to find out. But with that said, thank you guys for clicking on this one, and subscribe to join the Nerd Army. Peace out.